What it is, hip hop gamer show.
And this leads me to your Street Fighter V review, where you stated it is easily, hands down, the best looking Street Fighter ever. And during your review, you stated, and I quote, gamers, a lot of them are very spoiled and have a
Yes.
sense of entitlement, and it's ugly. If you don't know where you came from or aren't willing to do the history on where we came from when it comes to gaming, then you are never going to truly appreciate how we're moving forward.
That being said, you hip hop gamer have a very lucid definition of the word moving forward, but we'll continue to cover that here in a bit.
You went on to say, and I feel that's a big problem in the growth of our culture, not financially, but respectfully, end quote. Now, what do you say to the gamer who feels if they pay $60 for a video game, they are entitled to expect the game to work out of the box and contain the content released in previous versions?
Okay. The first thing I would say is when people spend money on anything, right? You have to know what you're buying. So, for example, right? I got Netflix. I know a lot of people that got Netflix, but Netflix is an online thing. It's a streaming service. So there will come time where you're going to see buffering in the middle of your video. There will come time where you'll lose quality, but then it'll get right back and everything is cool and smooth. But these things will happen. You will encounter them. Why? Because of the nature of the internet.
Hold on, I hate to cut you off, hip hop gamer, but what the fuck does Netflix have to do with video games? Now, if you're making a comparison, you could have made a better one, like trying to compare what Nintendo's doing with the NX or something else besides Netflix.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, you pay for it, but the nature of the internet, you will always have an issue at some point in time with anything. You know what I'm saying? You could buy a phone and the phone could work and everything like that, but then the phone could break, the phone could mess up, the phone could malfunction. You spent your money, but you're dealing with technology. So how can you even attempt to make it seem like everything that's created within technology should just always run perfect when the nature of the internet is out of your control?
Off. I'm pretty sure that if you buy a phone, you get a warranty on a phone. And when you get a warranty on said phone, if said phone breaks, especially within that warranty, like I go buy me an iPhone, get the warranty for my iPhone. Oh shit, my iPhone touchscreen isn't working. I just bought it. I didn't do shit. Guess what the company's gonna do me? They're gonna either A, refund me my fucking money, or B, give me a new fucking iPhone. Second of all, let's go to the next problem with this comparison. You're trying to compare a phone, a product that you can buy and hold in your hand, to the internet, which is essentially a software. You don't see the problem with this? You're trying to compare a video game, a product that you are buying that is supposed to be complete, to a subscription-based service like Netflix. I'm sorry. I hate to insult you this early in the video, but are you fucking stupid?
From a developer standpoint and a consumer standpoint. As of right now, it took me a long time just to be able to do the podcast because Verizon was messing up the internet. So I couldn't even log on. So is it my fault? I paid my money. But do I blame Verizon? Nah, it could be the weather. Like it could be anything.
How about I just say what everybody else in the audience was thinking when he said this? Or, hip hop gamer, it could be your shitty ass internet. You ever think of that?
Like I think that right there is very anal. You know what I'm saying? That's one. And the second thing I would say in terms of somebody spending money, you brought Street Fighter 5. You're not buying Street Fighter 4. You're not buying Street Fighter 3. Street Fighter 5 is a different game. And that's what I mean by spoiled gamers. Like if something has been in a game franchise for so long and the creator decided to do things different, allow them to because they are the creators.
First off, I'm gonna let the grammar Nazi in me come out because it's bought, not brought, dumbass. Brought is like me bringing your intelligence back after this video. Bought is like me buying a game. Now, speaking of people that did buy Street Fighter V on its release date, let's discuss the fact being these people aren't spoiled. It's the fact being that unless you're a pro, unless you're fucking Daigo or Justin Wong or some other famous Evo tournament player, this game really wasn't built for you. Why? Because of the lack of content in this game. Nobody spoiled Hip Hop Gamer. It's the fact being that Street Fighter 4 came out almost 10 years ago, the vanilla Street Fighter 4, and it had more content than Street Fighter 5, a game that's on a much stronger platform than Street Fighter 4 was on.
If you don't like what they're doing, then vote with your wallet and don't buy it. But if you're gonna buy it, don't tell them how they should make something, because it's the situation where you can't please everybody. Everybody's gonna have something to complain about. Here's the truth. The truth is this: Street Fighter 5, right? Everybody and a mama for so many years. Once Mortal Kombat started showing that story mode the way they was doing it, everybody was like, damn, yo, I wish Street Fighter 5 had a story mode like that. Everybody was wanting that, want that. Street Fighter 4 came out in 2008 in July. It is 2016 now. So for 8 years, people has been like, even probably longer than that, been crying for a story mode, like a real official cinematic story mode to hit Street Fighter 5. Now we finally get it. It's coming out in June, but now we finally get it. And now that we finally got that, people still find something to complain about. Oh, the story mode and this and that, or it ain't what arcade mode was. You complained about arcade mode the way it was. Now they're giving you something better. Now you complain that this ain't there.
All right, look, you sellout. Let's go over some actual factual gaming information. First off, Street Fighter 4 did come out in 2008. But Mortal Kombat was irrelevant until 2011 when Mortal Kombat 9 came out. Mortal Kombat 9, while I'll give you its story, was pretty interesting in terms of like a fighting game story. But how do I put this? If you want a story, don't play a fucking fighting game. That's my first thing about the situation, but that's how I feel. But in terms of story in Street Fighter, I never seen anyone going, oh, we want a cinematic story like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. Oh, that's what we want. And if people have, okay, congratulations. You'll get it when the update happens. But that's the problem. It's when the update happens. Mortal Kombat 9, the story was included in the game. It didn't need to be patched in. And as for arcade mode, the only thing people complained about in terms of Street Fighter 4's vanilla arcade mode was the fact that there were no mini games. There were no bonus games like there were in Street Fighter 2 or Street Fighter 3. Then they added it and arcade mode was perfectly fucking fine. Stop trying to sidestep the fact being that arcade mode in a fighter is standard in 2016.
It's no matter what people do, people always gonna have something to complain about. You know what I'm saying? Now, another thing to go deeper with the $60, when you buy a game and you want it to work, right? When you play Street Fighter 5, was there any performance issues in terms of frame rate drops and screen tearing and things like that? Nope, the joint performed like a dream.
Well, let's look at some actual facts. You remember Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes? Do you know why that game wasn't ever $60? Because it didn't have the content to be released at a price of $60 fucking dollars.
Graphically, it looks phenomenal. It plays great. All these other things. People talked about they don't have anything for the casuals. That's a lie. Casuals, let me tell you, casuals and hardcore gamers is defined by the gamer, and secondly is defined by the setting of a game. But gamers define something. For example, you can have a person that plays Street Fighter once every 3 months. That's a casual Street Fighter player. But then you can have somebody that plays Tetris every day for like 5 hours straight. He's a hardcore, or she's a hardcore Tetris player. Hardcore gamers and casual gamers are defined by the person, defined by the gamer. It's not defined by the game itself.
You really don't know what a true hardcore or casual gamer is, do you? I guess you're being too busy being a fucking sellout to actually know your facts. But a hardcore gamer, an actual hardcore gamer, is somebody that puts hundreds of hours into gaming in general. Not just one game, but in all games.
You know what I'm saying? You have people that's in the Guinness Book of World Records for Donkey Kong. But other people will probably look at Donkey Kong like a casual game. But that particular person plays it like a hardcore game. So it's all about the player that determines what's hardcore and casual. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. Now, to finalize what I'm saying, in Street Fighter 5, you have the first day when it came out, the servers had crashed. It was
Yeah.
down. It was down for a day or a
Mhm.
day and a half at tops, but it was down for that. Then they had a few hours where they did a maintenance thing where they made an announcement, and the game has been smooth ever since. So my thing is, for a game to come out and it went down for a day and a half, and then it went back up and it's been great ever since. Damn, they are on their job.
The eighth generation of consoles in 2016. You're really that stupid that you don't know that most games that have an online component, their servers don't work right the first day, and then the developers spend the next day performing maintenance, aka fixing the fuck up that shouldn't have been there in the first place?
Let them work. Like, if you, Mamacita, with what you have right now with your podcast, right? Let's say somebody's listening to it and they said, "Oh, the podcast, oh, it sucks. You shouldn't do this no more. You whack this and that." Like, that's not how you attack someone if you're trying to so-called make them better or make them do something that you want. You don't approach it like that. You approach it saying, "Mamacita, look, I love the show, but I think you should buy this blue mic. This blue mic will help you sound better and make the audience love what you got to do more." Like, be supportive, be positive.
But see, the problem with the situation is not many people are sitting here comparing Street Fighter V to other fighters. I mean, if you want, I can sit here and talk about, hey guys, Street Fighter V on the day it released, guess what? Pokken Tournament had more fucking content, and it's a Wii U game. But that's beside the point. No, a lot of people, well, me specifically, when I'm comparing the faults of Street Fighter V, I'm comparing it to other Street Fighter games, like the original Street Fighter 4. Why does the original Street Fighter 4 have more content and more activities for the gamer, the player of this game to fucking do in terms of single player options than the game that's on the next generation consoles?
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't talk about what you upset about, but talk about it in a way where it's supportive so you could get what you want and more because of your approach. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, Capcom's Yoshinori Ono did issue an apology for its server issues.
Right?
Do you feel that was necessary?
Nope. I'm gonna tell you why that's not necessary. Right? Because to me that was a PR move to appease the audience, because people feel like I spent money, this and that. Let me tell you something about all this whole spending money shit. Nobody put a gun in your head and told you buy Street Fighter 5. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't want to buy it, don't buy it.
You're right. Nobody's forcing me to buy Street Fighter V, but it's funny that you mentioned the sales of Street Fighter V, especially considering it's the worst selling Street Fighter game in the franchise. But back to this whole putting a gun up to your head and forcing you to buy the game. You've got gamers like me, Black Bond, my friend Phone, who are fans of Street Fighter, have been with the franchise since Street Fighter 2, and we support the franchise. So when the game comes out and we buy it, and then Capcom talks about, oh, well, we might not have an arcade mode in a fighting game in 2016, that shit bothers us because we're paying $60 for a game that has less content than another fighter that you can probably pick up for $10 to $15.
But if you buy it, know what you're buying and deal with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the first thing. The second thing is when it comes to, spending money, a lot of these developers, like, here's a misconception. A lot of these developers work overtime and don't get paid overtime, but they do it to make sure the game is like at its best. A lot of times developers get deadlines and they get cut short, and they even tell their publishers, look, it's not ready yet, don't put it out. And the publishers be like, nope, we got to put it out, period, because our stockholders, like, there's a lot of stuff that go on behind the scenes dealing with money, decisions, and everything that a lot of these gamers don't know about. Now that I got the privilege to know both sides of the story, like, they need us more than ever to make certain things happen. And that's what I'm trying to educate and make people understand. But nobody want to hear it because they felt they spent money this, they spent money that. I'm like, oh, word? Okay. So here's what I would do. I would tell anybody right now, if you work at a clothing store, you work anywhere, and your boss tell you, look, I need you to work overtime, whatever, right? But I can't pay you, but I need you to do this and stuff like that. There's a lot of people that be like, what? I ain't doing it. You ain't paying me, I ain't doing it. You want to know why? Because they don't have no passion for the culture of working in that store. They don't care about it. They're just there to get a check and that's it.
Are you fucking stupid? I've never heard of somebody working overtime without pay. And if there's a developer that does this, please, I want to know the name of the developer. I want to know the name of the company, the name of the employee that works there, and I want to know why he works for overtime without pay. Because nobody's that fucking stupid. Second of all, you want the gamers to accept shitty games like Sonic 06 because the developers had a deadline to meet. The developers had to do this. You want the gamers to accept games that have lack of content because the developers had to rush it, because the developers had to meet their deadline. You want the gamers to sit there and suffer through shitty ass games like Sonic 06 because Sega had to rush, and you want us to just accept that? You want us to accept what we got because Sega didn't want to delay it? You want us to accept what we got because Capcom wanted to meet these tournament schedules? No, that's not how the world fucking works. Let me ask you a question because you're harping on this $60 thing so much. And let me explain why you're upset. If, let's say you lived up here in Michigan, and I came over and I offer a service of $20 to shovel your front yard, but I only shovel half of your front yard. Are you still going to pay me your $20, or are you going to get me half for a half-assed amount of work?
A lot of these game developers, they are passionate about what they do. So they would work overtime and not get paid to make sure y'all are happy. And in return, they get a shitstorm. They don't got to apologize for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It ain't fair. Like, it ain't right. Like, we make the industry, we shape the industry, we push that joint forward. So if there's something wrong with the game, yeah, tell them that, hey, this is wrong. We need you to fix it. But approach it in a way where it's respectful so that it'll make them want to do it that much more.
You're still completely missing the fucking point. Capcom fucked up, so yeah, they should have apologized for it. Stop trying to sidestep from that simple ass fact. It's an obvious thing. If you make a mistake, you apologize for it. It's called human etiquette. It's called, as you're trying to say, showing respect to the people that are buying your product.
So
That's what I'm saying.
So it is, in your opinion, Street Fighter V's 16 characters, 10 stages, a survival mode, and an upcoming cinematic story to be released as free DLC in June 2016 should indeed suffice anyone's concerns about the game's lack of content?
Well, here's my thing. I don't feel it's lacking any content at all. Like, it's not lacking anything. Like, see, here's the problem, right? I'm gonna give you an analogy. LeBron James got 2 rings, Finals MVP, NBA MVP, and all this other stuff, right? When you look at his resume and you just look at only at his resume, it's like, wow, this guy's amazing. But then if you compare his resume to Michael Jordan, then LeBron don't look as good. So I feel that people are so focused on comparing things that they don't appreciate what they actually got. For example, Mamacita, on your podcast right now, right? You got a great podcast that you're working on here that you're doing. Now, let's say somebody will look at it and be like, yo, this is amazing. But then let's say they'll look at Kind of Funny Games or Podcast Beyond, and they're like, oh, well, there ain't no Podcast Beyond. So why should you be devalued when by people comparing you to other things? Why can't you just be great at what you do? And that's good enough. You see what I'm saying? People do that all the time. People always try to devalue and discredit people because they're not other people. They're not meant to be that. Street Fighter 5 is not meant to be Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 5 is not meant to be Street Fighter 4.
Absolutely right about that's the only thing you're right about in this video. Street Fighter 5 is not meant to be Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 5 is meant to be better than Street Fighter 4 in terms of content, the amount of characters, gameplay, and graphics.
So if you're looking at Street Fighter 5 for what it is, and now let's do this, right? Street Fighter 4, what does Street Fighter 4 has? It has arcade mode, it has online mode, it had your versus, what else? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. It was another mode that they had as well, training. You had training mode and stuff like that, right? In Street Fighter 5, what do you got? you got story mode, which they told you before the game came out was that this story mode was just to give you a brief synopsis. It's just an easy mode to give you a brief synopsis of what's coming in June with the cinematic. So they already told you that before the game came out, and that's exactly what it is. Okay, so that's there. Then you got survival mode, you got training mode, and you got network mode and stuff like that. So if you want to compare just modes, it's pretty much the same things there.
You sure you even played the original Street Fighter 4? Because let's go over the actual modes. You have an arcade mode. You have first off, let's go over the fact being that for online capabilities, you have ranked battles. Then you have your friendly battles, where you could also still have spectators, which there is no spectator mode as of right now in Street Fighter 5. You've got challenge mode, which is challenge and trials. You've got there was a tournament. I think there was a tournament bracket in Street Fighter 4 that I'm not 100% sure on, because my memory is clouded with Super Street Fighter 4. But in terms of our overall content, yeah, dude, Street Fighter 4 had a lot more going on than Street Fighter 5. Plus, you still had to unlock fucking characters in Street Fighter 4. Not everybody was automatically unlocked in the game. You know, you had characters and you had costumes to unlock in Street Fighter 4. While in Street Fighter 5, you just got costumes. You just got fucking costumes.